Afternoon, Shaun. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Peter, yourself.
Yeah, all good here, Shaun. Thanks very much for taking the time to speak with me today. Welcome to the Business Spotlight. Great to have you along. Could you tell me a little about yourself, your background, and your business, please?
Yeah, so my business is, well, first of all, my name's Shaun Green, Managing Director, SPG Mechanical Services. So yeah, I came from plumbing and heating background around about, I don't know, 20 years ago. And then obviously I've started the manifest and the owning my own company. We provide mechanical services. So in simple terms, it's plumbing, heating, ventilation. And now we're heavily geared towards modular stuff. So it's been built off site in the factory and shipped out. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we do.
So whenever you say you've gone into modular stuff, so how would I explain that to my 12-year-old daughter, what you do?
Yeah, so as a sense, I suppose it's yeah, it's like building Lego in a way.
Okay.
So you start with it in your workshop, or if you were explaining to your daughter, it'd be at the kitchen table and you're building it up, putting your bricks together, and then you're shipping it out to wherever it's going then. Yeah. And look, we find that the industry is moving very, very fast and heavily towards this. Do you know what I mean? Because it saves on-site time. You can be building this stuff. Normally the way it would work is you would start with you would get the order for a job, and then they would start building it, and then whenever the building's built, you would go to site and you were like, right, how are we going to get this in here? But now essentially what we do is, so we get it's all done with models and BIM. So we start looking at that early days, and while they're building these buildings, we're also building these systems. So it's a time saver. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. So for your daughter, I suppose Lego would be easiest terms.
Good. Yeah, I'll hit her with that. See how that goes. Brilliant. What about so when did you launch the business? When did you go on your own?
So I've been self-employed for best part of 15 years now. And probably, I think it's about 4.5 years ago now, I started the actual business, SPG Mechanical.
Okay.
Yeah. And a big learning curve then came behind that.
Yeah, and we'll get to a little about learning. So tell me, what was the spark that made you launch the business?
Made me look, I would say it sounds a bit mad, but I felt that like I could do things better than they were being done on site at the time when I was managing and looking, and I just thought it'd be nice to give it a go and see if you can actually do it. That was the big question. Can I do it? I suppose we're doing all right at the minute. You know what I mean? 4 years we're going. Turnover's constantly going up. You can't ask for any more.
Good stuff. And what about your target market, Shaun? Who do you like working with? Who benefits the most from working with SPG?
Yeah, so like I suppose it's any client or organization that's in need of mechanical services. So HVAC installations. And I suppose that would be M&E companies, big M&E companies, contractors who are based like doing data centers, doing pharmaceuticals, that sort of target market. Yeah, commercial and industrial is that's what we do. Like, so anybody that's needing that sort of them services in that industry would be our target.
And you mentioned about a learning curve over the years of being in business. So what would you say
Yeah.
your biggest lesson as a business owner?
The biggest lesson, let me see, would be the quality is always a given. So everything you do, you're expected if you're in business, you're expected to deliver the highest quality at all times. And the cost is the main factor of the business. So I suppose when I started out and I built my business up from, you know, being good at what I do, being able to deliver. And then when I transitioned into my own business and building my own, getting up and running and getting bigger contracts and stuff like that, I started to realize then that, that has to be a given, but it's then down to cost. Do you know what I mean? You have to be able to do the things. You have to be able to manufacture the things at the cheapest possible price while providing the quality. So yeah.
And how do you address that balance between value and price?
Um, the balance would be, yeah, I think that, when you get into, like, the longer you get into business and doing these things, you just have that, you just have that age that you're good at doing it. And then obviously the QSs and stuff like that, they work heavily on the marketing strategies and getting things done faster and quicker. And yeah, so I don't know if there is a balance there. It's more, it just, as I said before, it has to be a given that you can do it, but you have to work harder on the cost, because essentially that's what drives everything, isn't it? Cost.
And what would you say you've learned about yourself along the way?
Mm. Probably how resilient the everything you have to go through as a business owner, and yeah, and just getting stuff done that needs to be done. Like every day when you start out a business, it's all well and good now that I have a team of people working around me. But when I started out, I was the accountant, I was the design team, I was going to site, I was installing the stuff. So it's like you started, you learn to be a plumber, and then all of a sudden you're like, you have a bright idea, you're going to become a business owner, and then it's like, oh, we now need to be, as I said, accountants or whatever, and you have to learn all that stuff, and you have to do it. Like, so I think resilience is that I have is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great share. If you could ever bottle resilience and sell it, that would be some business to have, I tell you.
Uh,
If you find that out, let me know and we'll go into partnership.
uh, it doesn't come easy, does it?
And what about who's been your biggest influence along the way?
Influence, I suppose. Like I don't have these big, I'm not a person these big fancy, I'm not looking up to all these and being inspired by all these people. Like, but I think my family, my mother and father, they, as I talked about resilience and all, like they brought me up to be this way. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, like, I suppose I have them to thank for that. They've made me the person I am today to deal with the day to day running the business. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great. It's a lot of time. It's family that do provide that influence for many people. So yeah, that sounds excellent. What gets you out of bed in the morning and drives your passion for your business?
What gets me out of bed in the morning? A long list of tasks, I suppose. It start long before I actually wake up properly. Yeah, and look, along with the fact that, like, I love what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, see, designing stuff and making stuff and building stuff, and a big thing is delivering on time for people and delivering what they wanted. Like, I get massive satisfaction out of that. Do you know what I mean? And if I can wake up every day and stand true to my word and deliver what I'm said I'm going to do, I'm happy with that. You know.
And what about in the unlikely event that you were stranded on a desert island and you could pick a book to read or a podcast to listen to or both? What would you choose?
um, Not a big reader of books, to be honest. I don't have time to read books, Peter. Yeah, I suppose maybe just enjoy the time, the quiet time. No, I listen to a few podcasts. Like, I would listen to maybe not business related podcasts, but I like the two Johnny's podcasts. And I don't know if you ever heard of it. I'm a Gaffer. It's a construction
Oh.
podcast, which is quite good. Um, so yeah, I suppose that'd be the two I want to listen to. But as I said, I would enjoy the peace and the quiet, the phone not ringing.
And what's the biggest challenge that you're currently facing in your business?
My biggest challenge in the business would be, it's not continuity of work. The way the work comes is, it always seems to come, and it's always all or nothing. Do you know what I mean? You're so busy and you need to employ more staff, and then you have quiet times in between these. Do you know what I mean? But it all seems to come at one time. So, and I think now that I'd be struggling now. I have my clients that I've been working with for years now, but getting in front of the right people now. Do you know what I mean? Getting in front of new clients and people that decision makers that you need to talk to. That's my biggest struggle. Because I know for sure that when I get there and I get talking to these people, and I've showed it time and time again, is that, once they see that we excel in what we do,
Mm-hmm.
we make it work for them. But it's just getting that that initial contact, I think, is the hardest thing.
All right. And what about, let's go let off field here. So what if you could invite any three people, alive or dead, to a dinner party? Who you inviting?
I'm not bringing anybody dead, am I? Let me think. You know what? Like as I said before, I'm not really a big I don't follow all these people, and also I would say I probably find three clients that need my services, and I'd invite them to dinner.
Three prospects then? Get
Three.
them signed up.
Yes,
They want to
pro.
deserve it.
You're right. Prospected clients, and then at the end to be the clients. And hopefully that would be the thing.
Good
Um,
stuff.
yeah.
And what about if you could go back in time and dish out some advice to your 18-year-old self, Shaun? What would that sound like?
Yeah, I suppose it would be, you know, about business anyway, and it would be like to make myself understand how hard it actually is. Especially in an environment where there's a lot of other contractors doing what we do, and um, I suppose, yeah, but just to be understand business properly, to understand what it takes. Do you know what I mean? And then I suppose understanding how you're going to get the business off the ground, not just start like I did and learn day by day. Would have a proper structure. Yeah.
And then instead of looking back, let's look forward. So what does SPG look like in 5 years' time?
Yeah. So as I talked about a bit about modular and stuff there now, our industry, as I said, it's all moving towards that. Yeah, modular tech innovations. So I suppose my vision there would be, to be a well-established contractor in that sector. Like we've already started, invest in high tech, like robotic welders and stuff like that. So yeah, and that's kind of where we're looking to take the business. So yeah, that's hopefully where I see it in 5 years.
And if somebody likes what they've heard, Shaun, and would like to reach out and get in touch with you or get in touch with a business, what would be the best way for them to go about that?
Yeah, well, even look at our website there, or get me in LinkedIn. Yeah, through my email, mobile number, any way that they can possibly find to contact me. Always happy to try and help out. You know what I mean? And even it's just, I always say this, even it's just for a chat or a bit of help or anything like that at all. Like I'm always happy to take the call, no matter what.
Very generous of you, Shaun. Well, look, Shaun Green from SPG Mechanical Services. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat with me today. It's been great for you to share your story. Thank you so much. And I wish you and the business every success for the future. Thanks very much, Shaun.
Yeah. And the same to yourself, Peter. Thanks for having us.